Orientation, meeting the inner child. This is a general orientation for anyone curious about inner child work, especially if it feels new, confusing, or overwhelming. Nothing is required here. We're not going back into the past, and we're not trying to fix anything. This is simply a calm introduction, a way of understanding what people mean when they talk about the inner child and why gentleness matters. Before we begin, I want to say this clearly. Meeting our inner child is not about reliving memories or uncovering painful experiences. It's about noticing what still lives quietly inside you now. The inner child isn't a separate person living inside you. It's a way of describing the part of you that learned early, before you had words. When people hear the words inner child, it can sound big. It can feel emotional or confusing, or like someone you're suddenly supposed to do properly. For some people, the words carry a lot of weight. For others, they feel vague or even uncomfortable. And for many, this is the first time they've ever paused long enough to wonder what those words might actually mean. So if you notice yourself feeling unsure right now, that makes sense. This isn't about going back into the past. It isn't about reliving memory, and it isn't about forcing connection with anything inside you. This is simply an orientation, a way of understanding what people do mean, and just as importantly, what they don't mean. When we use the words inner child, we're talking about the parts of you that notice tone, mood, atmosphere, and parts that learn how to read a room before you had language for what was happening. These parts learned through experience, not explanation. They learned by paying attention, by adapting, by responding to what was around them. Everything has this, whether they think of it this way or not. And for many people, this is the first time they've ever been invited to think about these early adaptations with curiosity instead of judgment. So if this feels unfamiliar, this makes sense. One important thing to understand is this. Your inner child work is not about doing something. It is not about making contact. It is not about feeling emotions. And it's not about fixing the past. At least not here. In this series, we are not trying to bring anything together. We're not trying to integrate parts. And we're not trying to make anything happen. We are simply learning how to notice. And noticing is very different from forcing. That's why gentleness matters. When a part of you learned early, it also learned to be careful. It learned to watch first, to stay alert, to sense what kind of environment it was in. So when people rush inner child work, these parts don't feel safer. They feel pressured. Here we do the opposite. We slow things down. We allow distance if that's what's present. We allow numbness. We allow curiosity. We allow uncertainty. We allow nothing at all. All of that is valid. If you're sitting here wondering, am I supposed to feel something? The answer is no. If you're thinking, I don't know where my inner child is, that's okay too. This isn't a test. There's nothing to get right, and there's nothing you can do wrong here. This video is simply about understanding these parts exist, and that They don't need to be approached with urgency. Over the next video, we'll gently explore what it means to check in without pulling anything forward. But for now, this is enough. Just letting the idea land, just knowing that you're allowed to go slowly, that nothing is required of you, and that safety always comes first. This is simply about meeting the inner child, not asking anything of it, and not asking anything of yourself. I want to take a little time here before we finish, because when we talk about the inner child, a lot of people leave videos like this wondering if they've done something wrong. They wonder why they didn't feel anything, or why they felt too much, or why something felt familiar but hard to name. So I want to say this slowly and clearly. There is no right responses to this work. Some people feel emotions, some people feel nothing at all. Some people just feel a quiet sense of recognition, like something makes a bit more sense now. All of these responses are valid. Meeting the inner child doesn't mean opening everything up. It doesn't mean going back. It doesn't mean asking that younger part of you to come forward. Sometimes the most respectful thing we can do is simply let that part know it doesn't have to do anything. It doesn't have to perform. It doesn't have to remember. It doesn't have to be ready. A lot of us learned very early that being ready, being good, being responsive was how we stayed safe. So if your system stayed quiet during this video, that may not be avoidance. It may be wisdom. It may be a part of you saying, I'm listening, but I'm not rushing, and that's okay. This work is not about pushing past your own limits. It's about learning how to notice them without judging yourself of having them. In the next video, we talk gently about what it means to check in. Not to make contact, not to bring anything together, but simply to notice where the younger part of you is now. Near, far, or somewhere you can't quite sense it yet. We'll keep the same pace, the same gentleness, the same respect. For now, you don't need to take anything with you from this video except this one idea. You are allowed to go slowly, and nothing inside you needs to be forced in order to heal. Thank you for being here with me. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.